We're here today to protest and raise awareness of the case of James Costello, who is a political prisoner who's behind these walls. He was sentenced to 5 years for a speech crime. Let's talk about James Costello for a couple of minutes. Who is he? What kind of man is he?
Well, I knew James quite well. I spoke to him quite a bit. I'd known him for a number of years before he got involved in Patriotic Alternative. He was always a very friendly guy. He was always very softly spoken. He had no previous criminal convictions. He was a hard-working guy. He spent a lot of time with his family. He also always had a job, yet they came down on him like a ton of bricks. And he's currently in Manchester Strangeways, which is a quite high security prison.
It is.
It is.
I mean, let's talk about Strangeways, because Harold Shipman was in here.
Yeah.
Over 200 people dead. We've got serial killers in here. We've got murderers. We've got terrorists, child abusers, drug dealers, everything. And then we've got James, who's in there for speech. And not even his speech, but distributing a holy book that they said was inciting racial hatred. So James has no victims at all. And he's next door to people who are murdering people and abusing children and all this kind of stuff.
And ultimately, his crime boiled down to producing a sticker which had an advertisement on it to go to a website. And apparently one person went to that website and complained about the content. So this is a complaint from one person. So he's currently serving 5 years in jail because one person complained about a link on a sticker that was posted on a lamppost. The sticker itself was legal. The slogan on the sticker was legal. It was the link on the bottom of the sticker that led to the website. And the things on the website, some of them were audio recordings of James actually reading what he classed as his holy book. And this brings in numerous things, including free speech and freedom of religious expression. But nevertheless, he's currently serving 5 years in jail.
5 years for sharing somebody else's words. It's crazy. And you've been looking at cases of other people who have been sentenced to less than James.
Well, actually, it's the same. And this is why we've got the two-tier policing banner here today, because this is an issue of two-tier policing. Now, last week, in fact, exactly 7 days ago, it was reported by Sky News that a man in Rotherham had been sentenced to 5 years in jail. Now, this is a Muslim man who has been jailed for 5 years for dragging a 14-year-old white girl down an alleyway and raping her. So he's got exactly the same sentence as James Costello. Now, my message to any parent out there, or my question to any parent out there, would be very simple. What do you think would do your daughter more harm? Hearing words read by James Costello, or being dragged down an alleyway and raped? Now, it's almost incomparable, because your daughter hearing words that she may or may not like is at one end of the scale. There's no physical damage there whatsoever. On the other end of the scale is a 14-year-old girl, an underage girl, a child, being dragged down an alleyway, having her clothes torn away, and being raped. Yet, according to the English justice system, those two crimes, one of them, is it really even a crime? Well, it's classed as a crime. The other is definitely a crime. Raping somebody has always been classified as one of the most heinous criminal acts. But according to the English justice system, both of those crimes are dealt with identical sentences.
It just goes back to this thing of two-tier policing again and again and again. And I'm not part of James's religion, so it was a religious holy book that he distributed. But I believe that he has a right to freedom of religion and freedom of expression. And if you believe in freedom of speech, you have to speak out for James Costello, because the state are not just going after James Costello, they're going after all of us. And over the last couple of months, we've seen over 1,000 people arrested, and many of them sent to prison for posting things on social media and attending protests and things like throwing a traffic cone, no previous convictions, 16 months in prison. But we mentioned that it's two-tier policing, and we talk about political prisoners because you only get these punishments if you're a white person advocating for white people. So if you attend a BLM riot, you're fine. If you attend a riot in Hare Hills, you're fine. But if you're a white person standing up for your interests, they'll absolutely throw the book at you. So speak up for James Costello, because they're coming for all of us.
They are coming for all of us. And again, another great example of two-tier policing is what we saw recently with one of the pro-Palestinian protesters. Now, I don't think this woman should have gone to jail, but there was a teacher who carried a placard with pictures of Rishi Sunak and Suella Braverman on him, and the placard made the comment that Rishi Sunak and Suella Braverman were coconuts. Now, that is obviously it was a joke, but it was obviously racially charged. Now, the judge and the court judged her as innocent, let her walk free, and they said it was clearly satire.
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you this, if a white person had gone out on the street and made that same joke, they would have been done. Now, as I said, I don't think she should go to jail. I saw it as a joke. It's clearly a joke. But there's still a racial component there because a white person couldn't make that joke. And when you have a system where one person walks free or gets a lesser sentence because of their skin colour, and they said exactly the same thing as someone else, you have a system that's fundamentally broken, it's fundamentally unfair, and for want of a better term, it is discriminatory. But the fact is, it's discriminatory against white people, against the indigenous people of these islands. And we're seeing this two-tier justice across the board now, with people who are going to jail for either saying things online or for committing what are very minor offences at anti-immigrant protests, when back in 2020, Black Lives Matter rioters tore this country apart, looted, attacked police officers, damaged public property, set fire to the Union Jack at the cenotaph, and dumped statues in rivers, and those people were either passed over, never prosecuted in the first place, or walked free from court as if they were heroes. This is a broken system, but it is fundamentally an anti-white system.
You also saw the same thing recently at the what's a carnival in London?
Notting Hill Carnival.
I mean, how many arrests and 2 people were stabbed? Were they?
I think 2 people died.
Yeah, and again, you know, their trials are not being televised. Their photos are not being plastered across the mainstream media to send a message to everyone else. There was one other thing that I wanted to say, getting back to James Costello. He is originally from Liverpool, and he's been moved away from his family and his friends to Manchester, to this horrible prison where he's reporting that there are rats the size of cats, there are drugs everywhere, there's violence. He's been moved to this horrible prison away from his family and friends, and he's never been given a reason why. He's also been cut off from being able to contact a number of his friends. We can't send letters to him, we can't visit him, we can't speak to him on the phone. None of these people have broken the law in any way. He hasn't been breaking prison rules by speaking to them. They want him isolated from his friends and his family. So prison isn't enough of a punishment. Once you're in there, they then cut you off from your friends, they stop you seeing your kids, they take things away from you. And it's torture, it's mental torture. And again, it's only happening towards our people. So we do have 2 demands today, and the first one is that we want James Costello to be moved back to Liverpool so he can be near his friends and family. He doesn't need to be in this dangerous, horrible prison. He should be back in Liverpool, and we want him to be able to have contact with his friends again. You know, prison is a lonely place. The letters and the phone calls and the visits that you get are what keep you going, really. So those are our 2 demands for James Costello today.
And I want to round off today by saying that if you are a white person and you get arrested and you get sent to jail for a speech crime or some minor offence as an anti-migrant protest, not only will they throw the book at you, but there is no advocacy group out there fighting for your rights or assisting your family or writing letters to you other than Patriotic Alternative. We are currently raising funds for political prisoners and distributing those funds to the families most in need. No other group's doing that. We're proud to be doing that. We are proud to be standing up against this injustice, and we will continue to do so.
Yeah, we are Patriotic Alternative. Freedom for James Costello and freedom for all political prisoners. Thank you.